I want to officially welcome you to this wonderful seminar conference organized by the Think Christ movement. Think Christ movement is an empowerment movement that's focused on empowering people to achieve success through the principles of Christ. Our goal is to help awaken the greatness within each individual and to help people live in an effective, sustainable, and result-oriented life with a Christ-like mentality. Think Christ movement stands for possibilities and greatness. It's our belief that every soul on earth has the potential to be great and to live a purposeful life if they get access to the right information and knowledge on how things work. The founder of Think Christ movement is Pastor Francis K. Dogbachi. Can we give it up for him? This is the second edition of this conference, and we can testify that it is doing amazing things in the lives of our participants. Mr. Francis is the host of the Mentorship, Entrepreneurship, and Networking Conference. As a director and partner at Gentleak Flight Support, he seamlessly merges his business acumen with his passion for youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, believing fervently in the innate greatness within each individual. Mr. Dogbachi champions the idea that everyone possesses the potential for success. His diverse roles as a public speaker, empowerment coach, entrepreneur, certified flight dispatcher, and philanthropist reflect his multi-phased approach to uplifting others. Through monthly mentorship classes, Mr. Dogbachi actively empowers and guides ambitious youth along the path to success. His unwavering commitment to unlocking the potential within each individual underscores his tireless efforts in making a meaningful difference in their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the host and the founder of Think Christ movement, Mr. Francis K. Dogbachi.
Thank you very much. Please, we can have a seat. I want to welcome everybody once again, our distinguished guests and participants of this year's Mentorship, Entrepreneurship, and Networking Conference. I'm truly honored and delighted to welcome you all to this event. As we gather here today, we are embarking on a journey of self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. This conference is not just another event, but a platform for us to come together, learn from the experience of great minds doing great things in our society, in order to empower ourselves and create positive change in our lives and communities. Mentorship, entrepreneurship, and networking are three critical components that play a significant role in our lives as individuals and help us achieve our goals. I think it's our belief that when we have access to the right mentors, build relationships with experienced entrepreneurs, and build a strong network, we get access to valuable resources, insights, and opportunities that can help us become who we desire to be. As a young graduate myself years back, I had the privilege to be part of a seminar. And at that seminar, there was a colleague of mine that was hosting it, and he was talking about unlocking your greatness. At the end of the seminar, he asked each and every one of us to read a book. And the title of that book was The Richest Man in Babylon. So that evening when I went home, I took the book. He sent out a PDF version of it, read it, and after reading it, took keynotes. And all the things that the speakers at the seminar shared with us, I reflected upon it. And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey. And I always say that seminar played a key role in shaping me to become who I am today. So we gathered here is a way of giving back to society. If a seminar was of benefit to me and helped shape me to become who I am today, then I believe that seminars will also help shape the future generations. So that's why we put together the Mentorship, Entrepreneurship, and Networking Conference to have key speakers share with us their journey. When they share with us, one thing that happens is that it gives us hope. There are times when you hear a speaker talking and he tells you where he began from, where he started from. Sometimes you see yourself at that same spot, and a voice within tells you, if he has been able to do it, you can also do it. That's the key focus of why we've gathered here today. When we talk about mentorship, entrepreneurship, networking, with the rise of unemployment among the youth, we believe that it will offer a pathway to job creation and economic growth when the youth are encouraged to start their own business. Entrepreneurship empowers the youth to take control of their future and build a more prosperous and suitable society for future generations. However, empowerment is not a one-time affair. It's up to us to cultivate the spirit to develop the greatness within us. After the seminar, we owe it to ourselves to keep developing. So I think, guys, what we came up with was a monthly mentorship seminar, whereby we have monthly mentorship class. We invite speakers to come on board to share their experience. So after the seminar, we still have monthly programs for those interested and those willing to learn more. Because we believe that empowerment shouldn't just be a one-day thing, but a continuous thing. So in conclusion, I want to honor the prayers of all our speakers here and say a big thank you to every one of them for accepting to be part of this program. One of the most important messages that I hope you take away from this conference is the importance of self-discipline and perseverance in your journey. You need these two things if you want to come out of whatever situation you are in. No matter what you are told or no matter what the speakers say, if you lack the self-discipline to make it a part of you, it will end at nothing. There are times you hear people say they should tell us the shortcut secret and not the law. We know there's a shortcut. No, we are trying to avoid self-discipline. The process they share is what will work for each and every one of us. So whatever is shared with us, let's have the self-discipline to practice it and put it to use. So once again, welcome each and every one of you to this year's Mentorship, Entrepreneurship, and Networking Conference 2024.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us this opportunity to network and to learn. Well, can we clap for him again? We would invite our next speaker, but we have a short video. After that, he will come and speak to us.
I am Captain Prince Kofi Amoabeng, founder of the UT Group of Companies. It is imperative that we create entrepreneurs in this country. With the way the economic situation is going, the only way out to get jobs for those who are coming out is to create jobs. That's true entrepreneurship. Therefore, for those of us who have walked the trail, we must educate people and expose them to what is involved in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not supposed to be difficult, or leadership generally is not supposed to be difficult. It's difficult because of our setting, our environment, and our cultures. And therefore, we need to bear these factors which draw people out and scare people away so that the youth can actually face head-on the problems that come along the way. And the idea is to build thriving businesses that pass the test of time. So what I'm trying to do is actually to die empty. Die empty means giving out everything that I've learned, the experiences, the highs, the lows, and I've started by writing 2 books, and there's a third on the way. The first book is called The UT Story, Volume 1, that is Humble Beginnings. It shows how you start almost with nothing, but with the right principles and discipline and mindset, you can actually build companies. And it talks about my life from the army and how we built up to a successful UT Financial Services. The second book is about building a winning team, and it's volume 2 of the UT story. It talks about how to build structures and expand your businesses from one business and even diverse into other fields, like starting with a financial services company and moving into properties and logistics and going international and things like that. I urge entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, to actually get copies of these books and and learn from our experiences so that they do not commit the same mistakes that we committed. It's supposed to actually enlighten people, not just about the achievements, but also about the pitfalls in doing business. Apart from the two books, there's a third book which is about UT Bank, all the achievements and what went wrong and how it went down and the government revoked its license. But the books aside, I've also set up the P.K. Amoabeng Leadership Foundation to have young people, new leaders with a revolutionized mindset, different mindset. Unless you change your mindset, there are a lot of factors in our cultures and our tradition that will take you away from the business. For example, some of these things are even your family and relatives and your loved ones. Their actions or inactions will impact on the business and can collapse a lot of businesses. Of course, politics does the same. So P.K. Amoabeng Foundation is trying to teach the upcoming people what to avoid in business and to let them get a different mindset. Because a lot of things that we see and take for granted, we don't even understand why we are the way we are. To lead the people, you need to understand the people and why they behave the way they behave. And therefore, we go deep down to actually tell you who the African is, the African mindset, what is right about it, and what is wrong about it when it comes to doing business. I urge people to take entrepreneurship at heart because that's the only way for Ghana to employ its teeming youth, and it should not be a mystery, or we should demystify the whole art of entrepreneurship and make it easy, encourage people to travel that route so we can employ a lot more people.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again. And so far, so good for all those who have organized the program. They have done it astutely well. If you look at the crowd and the sitting and everything, the level of dedication and the spirit with which everybody is sitting in this hall, let me tell you, the reward of your own life is your intuitive feeling which you generate today. And you are dealing with the most practicable personalities right here, gentlemen and ladies, right on your screen. And please do give them a resounding round of applause. The gentleman that I'm going to introduce to you next is a man who I always say, twist the storm and twist the seas. Throw him under the vehicle and you will end up rolling over, and he will be the radiator of the engine. Because he will cool the storm, he will not condemn the ocean, but he will tell you that the ocean is deep. But if you have experience, come, let's go and swim. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 forms of introduction that I always do. And I'm going to start by saying that K is the knowledge that he has so far shared with a lot of people in his publications, his experience and everything. He's very objective when it comes to the practicality of business and his relation with family. He always says, let them stay out of business, out of experience. F, he's a very factual personality who will not mince words at all. He will go straight to the point and tell you what exactly it is. Damn the consequences. I, very intelligent businessman. No wonder he was declared the best CEO of all times. Not only in the Republic of Ghana, because whatever happens on the continent these days, it's very global. The next I want to say about him is that he is a product of the University of Ghana Business School. And please put your hands together. I know the Legonites feel that Legon University or the Presex are the very best institutions. I'm jealous though. And the next thing I'm going to say is that, you know, the Chartered Institute of Management and Accountancy, as at the time that they were graduating as chartered accountants, it wasn't easy for you to come out with SIMA. It wasn't easy at all. Please, a round of applause on that score. And he is the founder of the UT Group of Companies. He is equally the founder of the P.K. Amoabeng Leadership Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the popular Johnny Walker brand. Yes, for me, that is a twist of faith between building up your leadership qualities and walking into your future with hope and great aspiration. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he is not the type who, when you sing his praises, he will come and shake hands with you and say, thank you very much for praising me. He is the type who, when you put your hands together right now, and for me to say that, ladies and gentlemen, he, Mr. P.K. Amoabeng, is the next speaker to mount the stage. Please give him a resounding round of applause.
I'd like you to
I've listened to introductions about me so many times. This is a very powerful introduction. And Mr. MC, thank you very much. I think my job is really cut out for me. And the topic I have to speak to is also quite clear. A lot of people think I don't believe in Christ because I don't go to church. Well, I do go to church. When there's a good funeral that I must attend, or there's a wedding that I can't really run away from, then I go to church. And actually, some pastors have actually condemned me in their pulpits in churches. So when they said this, think Christ lectures, I said, at least some people believe that I know Christ a little bit. Now, the topic for the day is building a thriving business through strategic financial management, the role of financial literacy, entrepreneurship. Looking at the cross-section of you, it's not as if you have big businesses and things, apart from maybe Stephen and the Honorable too is established himself, and of course our big man here. So I am going to dwell on small businesses, and that's the majority, and that's what makes any country. So starting small businesses, I will take you through some salient points, things that you have to watch. Businesses in Ghana normally start with, Kwesi, let's go, Afia, let's go, and let's help me, I'm going to register, I'm going to buy this, and so on and so forth. Before you realize there's a business and there's no structure in place. And then you say, let's go and register the company. And I made the mistake. I just said, there's nothing for us to really, so it's 50-50. Never do that. When you are serious about the business and about its registration, number one, make sure the structure is right. The person with the vision should try to keep 51% minimum because you know where the company should go and it is your baby and your dream. And not just share. Sometimes your wife takes 10% and your children take 5%. It's all unscientific. Because you may need the shares to raise money. You may need the shares to get a loan because you leverage it, and so on and so forth. So the structure of the company is very important. What you have to do when it comes to structure the company, and it's crucial, don't take it for a joke, because when a business grows, see, the friends or the acquaintances that you have and you start a business with, some people are very good friends when there's no money. As soon as they see money, they change. Some people are also very good friends when there's money, but when they hit the rocks, they will change. So be particular about the kind of structure that you have. Know what they are bringing before you give them the shares. One thing to look out for is that if you need monies initially, think about loan versus equity. Equity is what gives them the controlling interest, that the shares that they have, for the percentage of their controlling interest. And you know why you're giving them. Maybe they're bringing marketing expertise, but you can't afford it, so you want to give them some 5%, but you must value the kind of expertise they are bringing. If someone is bringing money, maybe he has a lot more money than you have. Therefore, you think the company is valued at, say, 100,000 cedis or 10,000 cedis, and because of the money they are bringing in, they can end up having majority shares. Don't do that. Keep at least 51% of the shares. My personal experience, when I was struggling with Unique Trust, a friend came and he said, you give me 200,000, 200 million cedis, something like that, the old cedis, 200 million cedis. And when we value the company, it means he would take 60%. And I told him, I said, listen, I will not give you the company, so let's forget it. Then I went to bed and I said, after all this company, if I don't have the money, I can't really take off. So then an idea hit me. I called him back and I said, I will take the 200 million and give you the 60%. But on only one condition. We have to state it clearly that at any point where I've made enough monies, I can buy at least 20% of your 60% and own 60%. And he said, no, that's not what he's aiming at. And I said, okay, fine. Forget it, because I don't want to be your employee. Now, the structure, if you don't do it right, will come back to bite you. Because if you do the normal 50-50 or there are 4 of us, 25-25, it will certainly affect the future of the company, because people will change along the line when money is coming or when debt's coming. Every business starts with a business plan. As Stephen said, you must have a plan before you talk to anybody. And the fact is, when you start a new business, you don't probably have access. You don't have enough. You may want to go to the banks. Don't waste your time. I don't know of any Ghanaian banks that to support startups or small businesses, very small businesses. You may go to microfinance companies, but then you have to establish a relationship, savings and things before you get it. If you are lucky and keep trying, you may get an angel investor, somebody that some people or some organizations that will understand your proposal and go along with you. But invariably, your source of funding is family and friends. So you go to your friends who know you, you go to family members who know you, but then what it requires is that you must be a person of integrity, because they should know that you have integrity and you're an honest person. Otherwise, they won't give you the money. That's the first thing. So if you are known as, when I was a kid, I was called Kofi Baboni. If you are known as Kofi Baboni, but I wasn't swindling people, and then you swindle people and do all sorts of things and take people's monies, then you have a problem raising initial capital. So assuming you are okay and you find people and you go to them for money, be sure you're going as a professional. Have a business plan, identifying your vision, your mission, exactly what you want to do, and the factors that you need to employ or deploy, and so on and so forth. It doesn't have to be typed with photographs. It can even be on an exercise book, but at least the information should be very clear to you when you sit in front of anybody. And that includes your father, your mother, your sister, and everything. And I think Mr. Esken mentioned it. You don't go saying that I need money and I'm doing this project and therefore give me money. Nobody will give you that kind of money. So you go prepared, talking about your product, talking about our services, talking about the kind of people you're going to work with, the customers you're going to attract, why you are also, your product or your service is special, it's different. Because if it's not different and it's ordinary, I don't think anybody will be interested. So you must be very clear what you're going to do. Now, most times people go to their uncles or fathers and things and they say, oh, I need money, and your uncle doesn't give you or your mother doesn't give it to you. Because even though they don't say it, you have not really touched the very important issue of return on the monies you are requesting. Because they are family, you are taking them for granted. But money has a cost. And your uncle or your mother or your sister can put that money you are requesting in treasury bill or something like that and make some money. Now you are going to ask for it for free because you're a family member. It doesn't work like that. So you talk about the business and the projected profit and tell them how much interest you're going to pay on their money month by month or year by year. It is important. They will not ask you because they are family. You think that, they are taking money for their family, but they want it. And you should mention it. Let me give you my personal experience. When I started Unit Trust, I was looking for money and I'll go to someone, started 200 million CDs, that's old CDs. And I wasn't mentioning, I was only talking about equity. So if you give me 200 million, I'll give you a bit of equity. And it never worked. So one day I went to a friend in Koforidua. And he said I should come because I had hinted him about the project that I was going to do. So I went to this friend and I said, I need 200 million and shares and so on. So he wasn't listening. I realized his mind wasn't there. So I looked at him and said, Kofi, listen, you are not interested, so why did you call me here? And he said, Kofi, listen, you want 200 million to go and use to lend to people. It's very risky. If you should lose the 200 million, it will break our friendship, but I value our friendship. So I will give you 10 million and you pay whenever. Even if you don't pay, it's okay. Our friendship will be intact. And I got mad. And I said, I didn't come to beg you for peanuts. What do you mean? And told him a whole lot of words that you can't even write. So with the madness, I took off from Kufuria. I go to Sawam or Sugun and I was still mad and driving. And I stopped and took 2 bottles Guinness to calm down. So I go home, went to bed. I woke up in the morning and said, after all, this guy offered something. But my other friends didn't offer anything. So why am I mad at him? And it hit me that friends want or may want to help, but they don't want to risk their own financial position. So I got up in the morning and wrote letters to friends that I knew. And I said, I've started this, and this is the project, and that, everything, a short, brief summary of my business plan. I said, if you give me minimum of 5 million cedis, I'll pay 5% every month. And I took these letters around. I wrote down names of about 55 friends. And don't forget, I needed 200 million. And 13 of them replied, and I realized 255 million. And I said, mission accomplished. Unique Trust is going to really survive. Now, the lesson here is don't ask for too much money from any of these people, family, friends, and so on and so forth. Look for about 5. Look for about 10. People who trust you and know you and therefore want to make some sacrifice to help your cause. But still talk about interest. Because if you come to me for 100,000 cedis, I'll look at you and say, I'm not going to raise my 100,000 cedis. If you come to me for 10,000 cedis, I may look at you and say, okay, fine. I mean, I can help this young person with 10,000 and risk it. I'm not saying we should come for 10,000. Yeah, so I think that is okay about the funding for it. That's all I want to say about looking for initial funding. If there are any questions, you can bring them up. The other thing is is your product or the service. Be realistic. Business is about solving problems or improving the lives of people. That's what business entrepreneurship is about. So if your product is an ordinary product with nothing to distinguish it from the existing products on the market, think again. A lot of people will say that, they say there's money in bottling water or sachet water and things like that. What is special about your water, which will make people buy? There must be something. Otherwise, you cannot win. You should be clear. If it's even water, say that, listen, I think the mineral content is not good enough and it's not good for people. I'm going to introduce water, which has this special feature, and I'm going to hit that one to get to the minds of people and make their lives better or their water drinking life better. There must be something which is better than what's on the market. Normally, you don't look far. Every human being is looking for just 2 things. They are looking for ways and means of saving time. Every human being wants to save time. The second thing is that every human being is looking for quality time. Now, quality time, it depends on the people and it depends on the time or where they are. Quality time can be anything, like being with a loved one or relaxing in Dubai or relaxing at the beach or not having any problems or being in good health, a whole lot of things. So your product should save people time and it should give them quality time. And you should be clear what kind of quality you're giving them. So if your services and product are not giving quality time or saving people time, then think again. Now, if you take, let's say, the phone, the reason why everyone wants to have a phone is because it saves time. Instead of going to people, you can call, you can send them messages, you can do whatever you do. And then it gives quality time, entertainment, plenty. Stevie again said, don't stay only on TikTok, but I can do a lot. LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, and people insult me on some of the Instagram. I refuse to let it get to me. But the point is that the phone is very important. Every human being will want to have one because it gives them quality time. And in addition, because people feel that if they are holding an iPhone 15 or 14, I don't know what the latest is, then they get respect, which is for them the quality life that they want. So your service should actually, you should be clear about your service as in what it is contributing to the lives of people. Is it changing their lives for the better as in giving them quality time, or it's saving them time? The other factor which is critical is your customers. You should be very clear who your customers are. Someone came to me, he started a small project and he says he wants to sell to Marriott Hotel and he wants to sell to Lancaster Hotel. And I said, you can't even meet the demand. And the requirement is so stiff for you because you just started. When I started Unique Trust, my clients, believe it or not, were wachi sellers, kose sellers, onion sellers, tomato sellers, obroni wewu sellers, and those were my clients when I started in 1997. Because those were the people who could afford a loan at about 12% a month. And don't forget, my costs of my loan was costing 5% a month. So make sure you are clear about the customers that you identified. The reason why those people were my customers was, of course, I can't go to any company and say, I'll give you a loan at 10% a month. Nobody will take it. Now, these people in the markets, even now, are taking loans at about 50% a month, some 100% a month, because you give them maybe 1,000, end of the month you bring 2,000. Now it's happening. So if I could give them 12% or 15% a month, I was saving them money. Those were my target. And I had a relationship with them. I had to break it down and say, okay, fine, if I give you 1,000, you pay maybe 100 cedis every 2 weeks or something like that. And then they will work it out and say that, yes, it's better than the 50% they are taking. So be clear about the customers that you want so you can target your energies and everything into them. One thing, too, that you have to know about your customers is that you need to give them the time saving. So what UT or Unique Trust, what we did, if you remember, a loan in 48 hours, that is what distinguished us from all the other financial institutions. Because you want a loan, but you don't want to wait for 2-3 months before you know your fate. And we actually had to take the risk and mitigate risk mitigating factors around our operations and our processes to ensure that we can give the loan in 48 hours. And of course, when we work hard and give the loan in 48 hours, you must also pay with the alacrity. And that's what most people know us for. The business, when you start, most people, as soon as they see the first few monies, want to inform the whole world that they have arrived. And therefore, what they do, they buy a new car, forget about the cost that they have, and so on and so forth. Keep the principle of avoiding waste. Avoid waste at all cost and live frugally. Don't spend monies unless you can earn a lot more. It is said that Business people, good business people, spend monies to earn money. But other people earn money or earn money to spend the money. If you go to, say, the ministries, they've spent the money they are earning already because they borrowed perfume, shirt, whatever, jeans and things like that. And as soon as they get the money, it's distributed. But for a good business person, before you spend, you are thinking about how much more you earn out of it. And as I've lived that life and it's become a part of me. I tell people I have one shoe. Why do I need 4 or 5 shoes? One shoe to go to everywhere, every function, funeral, whatever, is only one shoe. And it's what are shoes for? Just for comfort of the feet. I know for women it's a bit different. So maybe you want to have 5 good shoes. But for me, my one shoe is okay for me. And then I remember when UT was growing, and I was that mean, holding on to the cost. And I took my car, which was a old Mitsubishi, and I was going to some investors to convince them to give us money. And I had done a beautiful presentation. And when they were coming to see me off, I was rolling my glass, and the glass just fell in. And they all looked at me, it's like, oh, poor man. So I came home, thought about it, and I said, no, image is important. So we'll buy a new car. And those days, they had a loan, a partial loan for buying BMW. So I went to the office, did my computations, how we can buy a new car and pay for it and what it would do to us. And I bought a BMW, which I was driving. Now my staff at one of the meetings said, sir, now that we made some small money, I think you are not controlling the monies, or you are now spending the monies, because we've seen that you bought a new BMW. Normally, as a businessman, you should be mad that how dare you challenge me. I was very happy. And I took my time to explain why we need a BMW for our image. It's not for me to just run around going after women or having a hard time, but to raise the image of the company. My point here is that sometimes you need to spend, but make sure that you are spending for a reasonable cause. And avoid waste and build capacity at all times. Some people will divert some money from the company and build a house and buy a car and make donations at funerals. It's the company's money. And mind you, the company is a different legal entity. So as a leader or the entrepreneur, if you take money from the company, you are stealing. And most people don't even get it. They think the company is theirs, and therefore they can do everything that they want. But build capacity at all times. And what you do is, first, watch you yourself. You must be disciplined to afford. To say, this is company money. This is my salary. And this is what I pay everybody. And the rest of the money is for the company, therefore we use it for the company to grow. It's very important. You need discipline, you yourself. Most of us don't have it. The other reason why most of us don't have it is that we're not disciplined enough to say no and also be realistic about it. Because apart from you yourself, which is the number one problem that you have in business company, you yourself, how you control yourself. Some people want to be seen that they've arrived, therefore they put their hands in the company money. And some people also want to feel that they're important. So when they get demands from other places, they can't say no. I told the political parties, I don't give my money for politics. And I paid for it anyway. Now, the second thing you have to watch in trying to avoiding waste and building capacity is your family and your friends. Apart from yourself, it's your family and your friends, because your family, sometimes they help you to raise the initial money, they give you support, and therefore you think you owe them. But if you owe them, it's a different matter. It's not company money. It's your own problem. You have to learn how to say no to family and friends. Now, when it comes to family and friends, even in employing people, it has to be family and friends who will say, that, oh, your brother, oh, your sister, oh, this, oh, that. And then you take those people. It's okay if they have the right qualification. You don't take them just because they are recommended by family. But the problem is that for the African, coming with a recommendation for the family, they are not going to even help you run a company. They think you cannot sack them, therefore they can do whatever they want. The key here is, if you cannot fire somebody, do not hire them. So if they bring your nephew or your sister or your brother for you to employ, you look at yourself and say, if this person misbehaves, can I fire the person? If the answer is no, please find any excuse, don't hire the person. Because you are not only going to hire them because of the relationship, you are hiring them because they have to deliver for the company. The same thing applies to those who are really, really into churches. I've talked to people and somebody is coming for a loan and I ask for a question. He says, oh, Samoabe, I will have to see my pastor before I come back. And I said, bring your pastor to come and take the loan. So the pastors and the churches have undue influence when they are sorry about and before you realize, they become your head of HR, they become your head of procurement and everything. And you cannot sack them because you can't go to the church and face the pastor that you sacked some people. I was known for sacking people all the time. But about sacking people, this is what happened. We're having a meeting and my staff say, sir, now you are nice, but we fear you. And I said, oh, why should you fear me? Me and you, pa. And they said, oh, you'll be laughing with somebody and hugging the person in the morning, and by evening we hear you have sacked the person. And I said, but you should know that I have never ever sacked anybody before. And the whole place went, and I had to explain. I've never ever sacked anybody before because we have the policies, HR policies, the rules and everything. And people decide to go against that. And we apply the system. My responsibility is just to sign off that, okay, yes, truly, they've gone against the system, therefore they should go. And people sack themselves. It's not you. So don't take the guilt to yourself. The people have sacked themselves because they know what is right and they've decided to do what is wrong because they love themselves more than the company. And what is more is like, it's like farming. When you grow crops, you have to clear the weeds so you can get a good harvest. So those who go against the systems must actually be sanctioned so the company can grow. Importantly, is the fact that you must create a great corporate culture. This is critical. Create a great corporate culture because the upbringing of the average Ghanaian will not support the workplace. We are not brought well. Even the education system that we have now has got so many flaws. But you can change it. And leadership by example, most of which you use to change it. It is very important, I'll hit again, that you need to create a different culture in your business. A culture which is based on sound values. There are some values that I think any company should have. It has to be based on God-fearing principles. If you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, the company's values should be around God-fearing principles. Because the Bible says, simply, love thy neighbor as thyself. If you ask me to sum up the Bible, that's what I would say. Love thy neighbor as thyself. What I would say in business is have respect for everyone. It's a notch lower than love. Well, love is a bit too heavy a word to apply. So you should have a value of respect for all. And it should guide the company in building its culture. Respect for all simply means make sure there are policies and rules and regulations that apply to everybody the same. And those rules and policies are led and exemplified by you, the leader. So if you say everyone has to be honest, your staff will have to believe you that you're an honest person. And for those of you who don't know, at UT, we got to a point where there was one lady who tried sleeping with almost everybody. And she was beautiful. And I heard there were some people were working against other people and this and that. And I called her, went through some questions, and I said, listen, you are sacked. Because she owned up that she had slept with a few people. Then my head of HR said, you sacked her based on what policy? Because you say you believe in policies. I said, no, she wants to spoil my company, so she should go home. Actually, what I said was, even if she wanted to do it, she should do it at her level, beside the level in the company. But she was going diagonally in the organogram. But my head of HR insisted and said, it's, even if it's true, it's her own body and there's nothing against it. So long story short, I said, and she told me, said, if you want to continue like this, we should put a policy, HR policy in place, which says there shouldn't be any amorous activities in the company. And I said, yes, I like that. So there was a policy which was called a morals policy, and it simply said you can't have love relationship amongst the staff. And I buttressed and said, we are creating a special family here. Sleeping with somebody in this company is incest, because you are not supposed to sleep with family people. Now, what that meant was that me, and I put my hand on my chest, Kofi Amoabeng, when the company grew, there were beautiful girls, women, and things. I never slept with one of them because I had to lead by example. I knew a few people were doing it, but then you had to hide. Talking about that, the reason why I put that policy in place was to protect most of the young women. Because in Ghana, it's painful. You want a job, they want to sleep with you. You want promotion, they want to sleep with you. Even if you have praise that, they threaten you and you want to. But if there's a policy like this in place, at least the woman can say, I beg you, I don't want to lose my job. And you, the boss or whatever, you also don't want to lose your job. But I know I would say that sometimes it's the women who are trying to induce the younger men to sleep with them, sometimes. So, leadership by example. Every company that you form, I don't care which one, there must be respect for all. And treat cleaner, messenger as you would treat your DMD and yourself. There are a lot of things that I used to do. One week, we had free lunch at UT, free lunch for every staff, which we started 1997 at the inception, and we continued with it until the company, UT Bank, went down. Now, when I went to the cafeteria for my free lunch, I will queue, meaning I stand the last person in the room, depending on when I get there. And you could see messengers, cleaners ahead of me. It didn't matter. Everyone is working on their time, and that they decide to come early. The CEO, first, I'm not going to eat in a private place. I'll come, be in the queue, and take my food for various reasons. One, I want to see what kind of food my people are getting. Two, it was time to interact with people and know how they were feeling. And also to show them ethics, eating ethics. Because I realized that some people would take their food, go and sit down and eat and leave. And I was thinking, how do I get them to behave better? So I will go and take my food, take tissue paper, come and clean the table, finish my food, and clean the table for whoever is coming after. Everyone did it. They all come with tissue and clean the table after they finish eating. Your staff will be looking at you and what you deliver. And you are supposed to create a culture of respect for all. The other value you need to have, obviously, is honesty and integrity. Every company must have that. And again, it's the leader who has to actually show that. And then you can add other value depending on the kind of company you want to form. Let's say if you are in transport or something business, safety and security is critical. So depending on the company that you form, you actually choose other values, and the leader must live it, and the leader must sanction people who don't live it. The sanctions should be very clear. People should go on the orientation and know the rules of the company and the policy of the company and abide by them. The other success factor is your company will survive only if it makes profit. It's very obvious. So you must know your true costs of production, costs related to salaries, costs related to everything, and also know how you price your goods. So make sure the costs are there. I mean, you for example, you two were giving loans at the beginning about 12% a month. So we say we'll give 5% to the investors. So we have 7% to manage. Now 7%, we know that maybe 2-3% will go to default. So that leaves us with maybe 5%. And the 5%, we know salaries and other things will go through it. So we know our margin is probably around 2%. It should be on your fingertips. You, the leader, should know. So any cost which goes above what you have in your mind, you have to question it. It should be something on your fingertips that you do everything. So you know your costs, you know your break-even point, as in the minimum revenue that you should get to be able to break even. Because if you don't make profit month on month, then of course you are chopping the capital of the company, and the company is bound to go down. So 4 factors. Your product is very, very important. That you know your product, you know what it does to your customers. It saves them time and it gives them quality time. You know your customers, those that you've targeted, those whose lives you want to improve, and what they need from you, and the services and the whatever goes with it. Then you need to be profitable. So you know your costs, you know your revenues, and your overheads. But most important, 80% should go into how you groom your people. That is the culture bit. How you create a culture where everybody is dependent on the other person. There's transparency in the company and there's love in the company. It should come to a point where everybody loves the company and loves the neighbor. My typical example is, I was sitting in the office, we were probably about 12 at the time. And a beautiful lady walked in and said, "You seen that we're doing some work here," and that she needed a job, just like that. And I looked at her and she was Peter. I said, "Go and sit there, you are the receptionist." Because of the way we run the company, the transparency and the love and respect for everybody. And I was transparent to the point that we will inform at the staff meeting those people who are bad creditors and we can't even find them. And we show their picture and say, this guy, that. This receptionist was in Makola and met one of our defaulters. And she begged some policeman to arrest the guy. And they brought the guy to our office. Receptionist normally has nothing to do with what the company is doing. They come and they receive for them. But she was incensed and involved in the business to the point that she was like a loan monetary officer and she got the client arrested. That is what the company should become. It should be concern for the company's vision and everything, and the love for each other. I will say this to probably end this bit to say that I believe that if you create a good company, the company is the number one family of everyone before your nucleus family. People don't understand it, but I'll tell you this. When you're working for a company, you wake up every morning. If you live in Amra here or beyond, then you wake up about maybe 5 a.m. or 4:30. And then you rush to this company. And you spend your whole day out to about 5 p.m. in that company. And then you get home maybe 7, 8 o'clock. And you do this constantly from Monday to Friday. So you live your life in the company. Literally. You live in the company. You don't live even with your family. Weekends, you probably will see them. So your number one place that shapes your life is the company. So make the company a place of comfort, of enjoyment, of love, of sharing relations. And love your people. They should care about you. You should care about each other, families, and everything. That is the kind of atmosphere you should create in the company. So your first family should be the company. After all, the family will also give you the resources to be able to maintain the nucleus family. So to create a family atmosphere in your company, that's the only way you can get people to give all their best. Always try to be different. You should know what is different about your company. But I'll give you the clue that people want to save time or they want quality time. At Unique Trust or UT, what made us different was a loan in 48 hours. No institution could give a loan that fast. Even as we sit here with the bank collapse and things, people call me and say, Kofi, where do I go? Because what I have, I need the money in about a week. And I said, I don't know. Because I don't find any institutions that are prepared to serve the people that fast. You should be clear about your unique selling proposition. If it's watching, it's like, my Willie is first class. And people should say that if you want good Willie to go to watch it, it's this person. Make sure it's very clear and you pursue it to a fold. Now, I want to say this again by way of ending. Leadership is not necessarily difficult. It is not that difficult. Because in other jurisdictions, you find a good product, a good service, and the people understand what they have to do when they're in a company. In another jurisdiction, even your son or your daughter, when they are going to school, they know that at age 18, they are leaving the house. So they come to you when they are 18, you say, Dad, Mom, thank you so much for helping me. I'm moving with a friend to find an apartment or to find a job in another state. So that your children will leave at age 80. That's what the systems work. That's the culture they have. Compare and contrast that with Ghana. The person grows up, works, he's 60 years old, goes on pension, and then he carries his things to his family house to say, this one was sharing, and he wants a place to put his own house or something. So the culture here is different. That's why I stress the culture bit. Outside, you employ somebody, he knows he has to be on time, whether it snows or whatever. In Ghana, it was raining, so I couldn't come. And you're not supposed to do anything. But you have to create the kind of culture, the leadership style should be such that people will act and behave differently. Elsewhere, your mother, when you're going to town to shop, and you are with your mother or mother-in-law, if she needs a coat, she will give you the money to buy the coat. She will never say, buy it for me for free. But here, your mother-in-law comes and she takes over the house. That's anything that she likes. So there's the urgency to create a different culture. Please. And the biggest problem that we have in Africa is about the people. And don't joke with the people. They can destroy the company easily. Don't trust people easily. Make sure that the policies, the systems work, and open your eyes and make sure that everybody goes by it, and also act and carry yourself in a way that the policies and everything is respected. This way, you can create the kind of company that will strive and surpass others. And the idea is to keep the company that's sustainable. You have to watch these aspects as you go on. Maybe when I talk and people say, oh, well, yeah. The UT story, or especially of the bank, came down because we lost the culture of the bank, of the UT, when we became a bank. When we were smaller, we had a great culture. We achieved a lot. We brought into banking, but we diluted it because we had different entities coming in with their own culture, diluted the culture, then we started having problems. So the culture is the most important. Love thy neighbor as thyself, which the Bible says. I have actually brought it a notch lower to say respect everybody and respect thy neighbor as thyself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We will take 3 questions. But before we take the questions, if you want to use the restroom or you want to stretch your legs, please do so. Can I see behind the 3 hands?
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Kofi Amoabeng, for sharing such priceless nuggets with us. I must say that you're a very strong man for coming this far and still gathering the courage and power and bringing us all the nuggets that will help us as young people. I have 2 questions to ask you. It's going to be a bit emotional, at least to me. So I hope you can relate with me. First question. Indeed, more than 48 hours was very unique to UT Bank. And I applaud the company for that. And I believe that you definitely answered the question or brought a solution that customers definitely required. However, I'd like to ask, do you think that standing out with that unique proposition was a bit audacious to the company? Do you think it affected the company as it goes to its fourth stage of the business cycle? I just want you to touch on it a bit, just maybe. And then I think the second one is that being in a company before where the company got to that fourth stage where the business cycle is getting to its side. And I can look into my CEO's eyes and I can tell she's tired. It was a she. And she definitely wanted to give up. But she had staffs like myself, who is like, we're not giving up yet. We still think we want to find ways of either diversifying or opening up our wings further to see how best we can turn things around. And then some of us kept pushing, but you can tell them that, oh no, she's tired. Did you get to that point? Did you have staffs like myself who wanted to keep pushing you to keep going? And how did you manage such a situation? Thank you.
My name is Susanna Mensah Metume. The question I have for you is this. When you realize that you've gotten to a stage where you've like the business is going down, with all the history you know about the business, the story, the sacrifices, what was going through your mind? How did you even break the news to those who trusted and then believed in you? And also, I know there's something that comes with power. You being so influential at the time that the business is thriving, and when the business and the experiences you had with people, how people treated you, after the business maybe collapsed, how were people treating you? How did you deal with that mind shift for you to survive till now?
Thank you very much. I think the first question dealt with the 48 hours and if it wasn't audacious. I tell you, no, it wasn't. We didn't just do it at low in 48 hours. And what happened was we challenged ourselves to come up with this product. I was looking at the people who were coming to us as in our customers. And I said, in everyone, by the time they come to us, the need was very right. I said they needed the money a week before or like today. And even now, if you want a loan from any of the banks, to take at least 1 month, I believe. And the typical SME, somebody has some goods sitting there, and the person is waiting for the money to give them the goods. And if you are going to take 1 month, the business will be gone. Secondly, you assess the business or evaluate the business, and if you delay, by the time you give the money, the business is gone, but the customer will still take the money. The customer is now going to look for another business to do, a business that you have not evaluated. So then your defaults are going to be higher. So I called my team and I said, let's find ways and means of doing loans in 1 week. It was quite challenging, but then we said, what can we do? And we broke down the lending process from somebody says, I need a loan. Then they walk to our office. What happens? And we realized that, okay, if he comes, we say, okay, go and bring this, let's write a report for the chief. I said, no, cut it all out. And then the person or the company needs valuation of the property, and that requires going to an external property valuer to do measurements with photos and all those things. You also need to do a search at if they bring their title deeds to make sure that it's their name. Now, some of the solutions I did was this, and always go through the entire circle. I said, one, if somebody wants a loan and they come to the reception, they should come to me first. Shouldn't talk to anybody. Bring the person. So the person comes to me, and within 5 minutes, I can assess if there's a possibility of doing a loan for that person, or the person is not ready, and I'll point out what they need to get before they come. One, I save people's time. If we won't give it a loan, please don't waste your time, because people can waste about 3 months and still be told that they won't give the loan, and I don't want to waste anybody's time. Two, if we could do the loan, 5 minutes, I give it to a project officer to do that loan, and that alone cut off at least a month of credit of the credit period. Then I asked the question, how long does the search take? The search will normally take 2 weeks if you go and apply. And I said, what do we want from the search? We just want someone to go and see if that title, the title belongs to this client. So I said, okay, go to Lands Department and find someone that we will pay to do the search for us. So the search then came in about 2 hours maximum, because we went to give it to our guy, and he will go and look at, so he's okay to deal with it. It's his property, or it's a property. When it comes to valuation, we're not in the business of taking people's properties. We wanted to make sure that the property that you have is in existence and that the value you state is right. So I said, let's employ a valuer, professional valuer. So we employ a professional valuer who will drive to the property, make sure it's there, the size and everything, and he will give me a call. I said, PK, the property is worth 200,000 plus or minus 10%. That's all I needed. So critically look at the field in which you are and ask questions about why they do the things that they do. So search, we could do it in 2 hours or less. Valuation, we could do it in an hour. The whole process, you go back to the client and you, instead of asking them, as the banks would do, give us 3 years financial statement, which will be false anyway for most people. They will just go and forge figures. We train our people to go there, look at stocks, look at cash, look at weekly turnovers and things like that, and the revenues, and look at their books, bank statements, and give us a statement of account. It was something that we were doing by hand at 48 hours, come and give you the loan. We just covered and put risk mitigating factors around the whole thing That's why we could do it in 48 hours. Plus, we had an efficient way of monitoring. We'll give you a loan. The next day we come to see what you've done. The week we come to see what you've done. If you are not coming, we will come to you. And I used to go to people's houses, jump the gate to go and collect my money. The second, or the part two of the first questionnaire was, when things were going down, if I had staff who were saying I should keep on and so on and so forth. Yes, I had staff who felt that I was the only one they wanted to work with, and that so long as I'm there, things will turn around. But I left the bank in 2015, and I was 63 years old. If you want to do the math, I'm 72. And at 63, I had passed pension age, and the bank wasn't doing well. So we decided to put in a restructuring plan. So the bank, me, my chief operating officer, some other officers, and Bank of Ghana, we got a restructuring plan in place, which talked about raising more capital, trying to recover the loans that were not coming, looking at the risk management, a whole lot of things. And I offered to step down. I've been CEO from inception. So I said, in Accra, I say, in so chair or junior. And I said, maybe the fault is from me. And at 63, I think probably I'm past my prime. So I offered to step down and let my CEO take over as the new CEO. That was in 2015. 20 months later, the government closed down the bank. So, yes, there was the support from staff who wanted to see me there. But I had to examine myself. I mean, I can't stay on top of things that are going wrong and blame others and systems and things like that. I must look at myself. I said, I'll step down and let's get a fresh pair of hands. That's what happened. So, yes, there were staff who wanted me to stay, but I had to tell myself that enough was enough. I think the last second question is talking about my resilience and how I survive. It's a question that comes up all the time. Let me tell you something. I told you that when I was CEO, I would go to the cafeteria and queue like everyone else. So I was no more CEO. The bank had been assumed by GCB. And one week, Saturday, I realized I needed money fast to go to my village. So I took my checkbook and I went to where I used to be CEO, that is Airport City. I went to the office and I went to stand in the queue. There was pandemonium of, what does he want here? And then they came, sir, why are you here? And I said, why do people come here? They come to cash their check. And I'm in the queue. They said, no. And then go and sit in the car. I said, I'm not sitting in any car. And they rushed, got me fresh news, and came to escort me back to the car for me to go away. Now, as this went on, I was reflecting. For me, it's nothing. I used to queue, even when I was CEO here. If I have to queue now, it's the same. But I realized that if I was the kind of CEO who would raise himself and let people know he's the boss and not fraternize with people or mix with the people and queue and things like that, you get into depression if you have to come to banking hall. You probably can't come. In other words, stay humble at all times. And that is what gives you the ability to survive and the resilience. Two things. Believe in your God. He put you here and he makes things happen. I remember when I was Johnny Walker, and posters and billboards, I was huge. What I said was, God, why me? Because it was too much. I didn't get up to say, hey, me, I said, no. God, this is too much. Why me? So when God takes you through the highs, he knows why he takes you this, right? If you have to go through the lows, don't let him down. Just be saying, God, what's next? Now, in the case of my situation, because I stayed humble all the time and I believed in God, I know nothing can touch me. The only thing is I tend to speak my mind too much. But again, if things irritate me, I will say it. If that gives me enemies, I don't care, because I don't fear any human being. All I fear is my God. Thank you.